We're on. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the room. Welcome to the Zoom, all that good stuff. A little bit of quick housekeeping. As you know, I might drop. It just happens. We've learned in this Zoom world. If I do, Danielle will just take over and run it till I log back in. Danielle might drop. If she does, I will just run it until we come back in. The odds of us both dropping are slim to none, so we don't have to worry about that one. Also, we're going to have a chat screen and a Q&A screen, right? So if you go on the bottom of your thing right there, you're going to see chat. That's where you guys can chat over on the right and rap with each other and say, hey, how's it going? And you guys can talk. If you want to ask questions for Danielle or I, please use the Q&A. It helps us not have to keep up with all the chat. And it's just easier to manage that way. So same thing on the bottom, there's one that says it's cleverly disguised, everyone, under Q&A. If you would use that one to ask questions, that would be fantastic. And sweet, I think that's about it. Let's get into it. I've got a list of questions that I wanted to make sure I asked you, Danielle. So I'm gonna jump over here real quick to my notes section in my phone so that I can refer to them. And let's start by just saying, I got 37 people on this Zoom right now, so they might know what it is, but let's just say real quick, what is it that you do in case they don't know and they just happen to come onto this Zoom? What is it you do for Orange County Realtors?
Anything that's asked of me. But that's not really what you were looking
for. That's not, I just do everything. I
just do everything. No, that's why we're so lucky to have a whole team. But so this year I am president of Orange County Realtors. And it's been a ride so far, and we're not even done yet. But that's what I do. I am a realtor. I'm a broker. I own my own company, Corliss Realty. I think we're going to get into that a little bit later. But for Orange County Realtors, I volunteer. I serve. I literally do whatever is asked of me, or opportunities that I see I might be able to volunteer for. I'm always up for that as well.
All right. And as the president, you have a one-year term, correct?
That's right.
Okay, perfect. Just for those of you who know and who are jumping in, we're going to try to get all of your questions answered about what it's like at the leadership level and the volunteer level of the board as we go through this. And so I just wanted to make sure that I was sharing it on my phone and everything. So let's start with you. Talk to us. Tell us, Danielle, just a little bit about Danielle Corliss. Tell us a little bit of, not in the third person though, because that'd be creepy, but just a little bit about yourself. Let's kind of start at the beginning, how you got into real estate, all that fun stuff.
Okay, so, well, first a little bit about me. I'm married to a wonderful guy, Jim, and September, we will be celebrating 20 years together. We are a very unusual and very fortunate couple that we work 24/7. Together, side by side. So from that standpoint, COVID has done absolutely nothing to us except, continue what we always do, and that is being together. We love it. Jim has 3 kids. We have 3 grandkids. I have 2 sisters. One lives in Australia. She is just a dynamo. She's a great speaker. She's getting a new career off the ground. Don't get to see her much, but we're in touch a lot. Another sister living in the Bay Area. She's amazing too. I'm so lucky. I have a stepmother who is one of my best friends. Lost my dad earlier this year, which has been difficult. And then on that note, my husband Jim actually lost his dad yesterday. So it's been been a tough year for dads, for us and dads. But I love to cook, love to travel, sans COVID, spend time with family and friends. So that's kind of a little bit of a background. How I got into real estate. I went to USC and graduated from there with my bachelor's in communication.
You weren't part of that whole scandal thing, right? You weren't a fake athlete or anything? Okay.
No, but I will tell you that I put myself through USC. I did not get help from mom and dad, which probably helped shape me into who I am today. I got a lot of scholarships, a lot of grants, and then the rest was good old cash that I worked. I worked 3 jobs while I was in school. I'm a hard worker, in case you didn't figure that one out. But after USC, I went to work in the insurance industry. I started as an underwriter and then moved into management pretty quickly. And after about 9 years with the same, it was a large insurance company, I had an opportunity to open what was going to be a sales center covering the western half of the United States. And it was a brand new idea for this company. And they basically opened a door to this huge room that had no desk and no pens and no computers and no employees, nothing. And they said, okay, Danielle, go for it. The world is yours. And I did. And it was amazing. Just an amazing experience, hard work. But once I was done setting up that sales center, which took about 18 months, then I figured, okay, I've had the management job of a lifetime, but I didn't really know what to do next. So I decided to do some career interest testing. And people seem to find this quite funny as they know me. I tested very high to be a janitorial supervisor. Yep, me. But that was not what I wanted to do for my next job. And a family friend who is a realtor told me she thought I would be good in real estate and offered to let me job shadow her for 2 weeks. I took her suggestion and fell in love with real estate the first day. That was 24 years ago.
That's pretty good. 2 weeks. Most real estate agents that I've met think about it for around 2.5 minutes.
Well,
and then decide to go get a real estate license. So, all right. And now you own your own brokerage, right? You're an indie, an independent. We call them indies in my world. And you have a fun story about how that came about in the naming process, right?
Okay. So hopefully this won't be inappropriate, but it's a real story. So my husband and I had worked with large brokerages and small boutique brands, and finally in 2008 we decided we were going to go off on our own and add some property management to our portfolio. And so we reached out to a bunch of our friends and family and told them what we were getting ready to do, and told them that we're not very creative people. We've got some strengths in other areas, but creativity isn't always at the top. And we wanted to get their suggestions on what we should name our company. So ideas kept pouring in. We had some great ideas and ultimately decided on Lifestyle Realty. We thought that was a great idea. It would work with buyers and sellers and property management. And so we were ready. And in fact, we were waiting in line at the pharmacy the day we were going to file our DBA, and we saw a display of lifestyle condoms. Yeah. So we had to do a little bit of an about face there, and that is how we came up with a very boring name of Corliss Realty, although the backstory is that a lot of thought did go into it.
It seems safe on the fly all of a sudden, right?
That's right.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about like you and your journey. What has inspired you, guided you, as you've gone through this owner operator since 2008, getting involved with the board? Like what helps push you, drive you, and inspire you, motivate you?
I have a really strong faith. That's probably number one. But I think the rest of that answer is people. People inspire me, and I allow people to guide me and to help make me better. I'm a good listener. I know that there's a ton that I have to learn just from listening. There is a book that I read. So I did a lot of preparation during my year as president-elect last year, knowing that I was going to step into these big shoes. And of course, didn't know about COVID at the time. So my journey has obviously been different because of that. But I stumbled upon a book, and it's called 212 Degrees. And it is about, you familiar with it?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure I have one on my shelf.
Oh, it's amazing. And so for those of you who don't know, it's about inspiring that extra effort in people and how that can make such a huge difference. So the concept is at 211 degrees, water is hot, very hot. But by making the effort to raise that temperature just one more degree to 212, that hot water is turned into steam, and that steam can power a locomotive. So for me, I think leadership is about inspiring and empowering others and putting forth that extra degree of effort. I think it's also about serving with humility and integrity. And for me, the word leadership is not a position or a title. As far as I'm concerned, it's an action, it's an example. So right now I happen to have the title of president, but I think anyone who knows me knows that it's just a title. It isn't who I am. I don't get caught up in that sort of thing. I really just want to get out there and do the best I possibly can to represent our association the way that it should be represented, and do the best job possible.
That book, I can't think of who the publisher is. McKinsey, I think, or something like that. If you Google 212 degrees, you'll see it. They've got a really cool YouTube video that kind of gives you part of the book as well. That book was actually given to me, I want to say close to 15 years ago, by who's still an agent, who's still a realtor in the Orange County Realtors. It's Alfie McFadden. So Alfie, if you're seeing this on Facebook Live, if you're watching this Zoom Live or later, Alfie, thank you very much. He's the person who exposed me to that book and gave me that book. Okay, so let's talk about this. Baseball season has started, and then it stops, and it starts, and it stops. It's weird, but using baseball terminology, this curveball that we have had thrown at us called COVID, which started to rear its head. We started to hear stories about it in January, and we called it like the Chinese flu or something. And then in February, we started to see that it was going on here, and that didn't seem real adequate anymore. And then in March, we kind of started to shut down, right? And by March, we were entirely shut down. And so that's probably not what you thought you were signing up for when you decided that you were going to be president of all of these great members, all these great realtors, and all these great affiliates. It's this whole association. So what has this COVID curveball been like for you?
Well,
it's a kind of a big question.
It is a big question. Challenges create opportunities, and I think that's life. I think that life would be boring if it just went along as it's supposed to. But I think that there's so many times where we just kind of have to stop what we're doing, evaluate the situation, and then figure out what's the best way to move forward. So, of course, my personal challenge was to take the wheel and help steer the association ship with strength and courage that I knew I had through some rougher seas that I don't think anyone could have imagined. But I think the key is that I've been able to do this because of who I have beside me. And it may sound kind of cliche, but I mean it with all my heart. I am beyond grateful to have an amazing board of directors, committee members, and staff along this journey with me. They make me look better. They make me be better. And the commitment that they all have shown during this challenging time, during this COVID curveball that we have been thrown, has just been amazing. And there's not been a moment yet where we felt we couldn't take on the latest challenge, always keeping the goal, though, of serving our members and maintaining safety, of course, for all. So, that's been the COVID curveball.
Let's talk a little bit about that. What have you guys been doing at the association? The list is long and plentiful, but let's talk about it with everybody that we have on here as well. What have you guys been doing at the association during these last? And by the way, I think it's 6 months. Let me see. No, 6 months would have been February. So it's 5 solid months now that we've almost been into this for. So it's not a fad anymore, right? It's the new reality. What have you guys been doing? Let's talk about some of those highlights.
Okay, so I think it's good to go back to the beginning, like you said, back to March, and when this all started, and when we all kind of almost dismissed it. It's something that's happening overseas, and then it starts coming here. So the COVID crisis was unexpected for sure, but it didn't catch us off guard because we were able to pivot really quickly. But so let me give you an example of some quick thinking and being open to change, which is certainly needs to be a priority when you get thrown a curveball. Our annual meeting. Okay, so every year Orange County Realtors has an annual meeting. Something's that's said in the bylaws, we have to do it. It was supposed to be at the end of March. That was we had it planned. We were going to hold it at UCI. We already had 400 RSVPs, and then the order prohibiting the mass assemblies was issued. And all of a sudden, it was like the rug was pulled out from underneath us. What do we do? Do we not have it? Well, no, we have to have it because it's in the bylaws. Okay, well, where are we going to have it? Well, we really don't have a place to have it with 400 RSVPs. So ultimately, after considering several options, we decided to hold it remotely, 100% remotely, for the first time ever. And this was before Zoom became a household name. People didn't know about Zoom. I certainly didn't. So that decision was made on a Friday. The meeting was Monday at 10 o'clock.
That's fast.
It was really fast. So we had a kind of a pregame meeting Friday morning, and I was supposed to be the host, introducing the speakers and, kind of keeping things moving. And at that pregame meeting, I learned that for this doing a meeting virtually, you have to have a camera on your computer. I did not. I'm not the techiest person in the world. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I don't have a camera. I can't do this. Well, Danielle, you have to do it. You're the president. I'm like, okay, I'll go buy a camera. I'll figure this out because I'll figure anything out. So we finished that meeting. I left our house in a panic. I ran over to Staples. No, they're sold out. I went to Target, sold out. I went to Walmart, sold out. I even got on Amazon 2 weeks before they could deliver me an external camera for my laptop. And I was like, wait, this cannot be happening. First of all, I look really stupid by not having a camera on my computer. How old is that computer, And so I was—
You sure it wasn't a typewriter?
Oh, it was very stressful. And this was going to be my first meeting as president that I was going to, be leading, and 400 people. And oh, by the way, the numbers were now up to about 1,200 now that we moved it virtually. So I happened to get on the phone with my stepmom, and I told her how frustrated I was. And she said, oh, is that the little thingy that you clip to the top of the laptop? And she says, I think that's how I talked to your sister in Australia. And I said, oh my gosh, you have one of those little thingies? And she said, I sure do. So we averted that crisis. I learned how to use it real quick. And the good news is the annual meeting went off almost without a hitch, although somewhere out there, there's still a blooper floating around of me introducing the next speaker that didn't go quite as smoothly as it should have. But all in all, we had almost 1,400 people signed up and ended up saving the association about $40,000, by not doing it the way that we've always done it.
Wow, that's a big savings of dues right there, right?
It really is. It really is. So, so that was kind of the first thing that really happened, the big thing that happened, and we got through it. So now, bringing us up to date on what's been going on since this, we hold all of our marketing meetings virtually. That's been a really, really big step. Excuse me just a minute. I wrote myself a few notes, but I forgot to get them off the printer. Okay. Anyway, so we've got all of our marketing meetings that are being held virtually. They've been going great. We've gotten great attendance at these meetings, so we're really proud of that. All of our committee meetings, our board of director meetings, again, all done by Zoom. The association actually is open. We never closed. We've had—
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that, because people have a confusion with how that works. If you kind of lay it out for people, that'd be great.
Yeah, of course, of course. So all of our employees have been working from home. But slowly we've been bringing back one or two at both locations, Fountain Valley and Laguna Hills. And we are still offering full service. We were open for store purchases, for lock boxes, for shirts, for signs, for gloves and booties. But the best thing I can tell you, even though we're open, we're still all under COVID restrictions. So if any of you want to take advantage of the association being open, call first. And, you know, they can fix lock boxes over the phone. They can sell you things over the phone, take your credit card over the phone, and then, you know, just come and pick it up. Make an appointment. Of course, we're all wearing masks and, you know, standing 6 feet apart and, you know, that sort of thing. There's a new thing that's going to happen this month. We've purchased some retail lockers like the ones they have at Home Depot, or I think Amazon has them too.
Yep.
And okay, so someone can order whatever, a lockbox from the store, and then the staff will actually put it in one of these lockers outside the association at the Laguna Hills facility, and then you can go pick it up over the weekend or at 10 o'clock at night if you want. It'll be basically, there'll be an availability 24/7. Now we don't have those yet, so we're still working on it, but it's been approved by the board, and I think it's going to be a great idea. You know, we've got a lot of realtors who work part-time because they've got a full-time job elsewhere and they can't get to the association during normal business hours. So this should free up some opportunity for them. What else? We've got Rexpo coming up. So last year we did our first Rexpo, and we had it at a hotel, and it was a big, huge success. We brought in some great keynote speakers, and well, again, we have the restriction on large gatherings, so it's going to be virtual this year. Our speaker is Erin Brockovich, which will be very interesting to hear her. So she's our keynote, and it costs $20, but we do have a buy one, get one free right now. So for any of you who are ready to sign on to this.
I didn't know that there's a buy one, get one free right now. Okay.
Yeah. So that'll be good. So just go to our website, the ocrealtors.org/Rexpo, and you can buy your tickets there.
So $20 for two, essentially, tickets right now. It's just a short-time special going on. You're gonna have, it's gonna be on September the 14th. Do we know what time it starts? I actually should, but I don't know that I do. But I want to say it's like 9-ish, right?
Yeah, 9-ish. How's that?
9 a.m.
Oh, 9 a.m.
Yep, Zippy just chimed in. Great. Zippy would finish this for us. And I think it ends at, while you're talking that, some of the other speakers that are out there. Do you know who they are, Danielle? I can go and look at the sheet too. But they've got some really good speakers. I don't know if you have it in front of you.
I don't have it in front of me. No, I'm sorry.
I do. So give me a quick second and I will get it in front of me. Because they've done a really good job of promoting it online. So we've also got John Murray. And John Murray was a real estate agent in the Midwest who was the #1 agent in number of sales, not volume, because, you know, like one house in Beverly Hills can beat like 1,000 houses in the Midwest. But he was doing several hundred transactions, even I think over 1,000 one-year transactions. And he's a #1 agent for several years. He's going to be speaking about how he did that. Camille Rose Soler is going to be talking about mindset and being creative during times of chaos. And we seem to be in one of those times right now. Gov Hutchinson, everyone's favorite Gov Hutchinson, Vice President of CAR and all things legal, is going to be there. And then Jay Barbuda, political skills, navigating your career and professional relationships, is going to be on there. Shannon McGann, the NAR chief lobbyist. Thank you. I did not know about that one, Dave. So we'll be there. So it's a pretty good lineup. And there we go, 9 to 3, right? So 9 to 3. So it's a good long day event. You can take 6 hours out of your time and really get some education in. And we're going to talk about education in a second. But education right now is so important because you're at an Indy, Danielle, so your sales meetings for your staff might have been rather small and intimate with you and your husband. I'm not sure how many agents are in your world, in your brokerage, right? But other agents might belong to some bigger brands or even some bigger Indies, right, that are out there. You know, there's the Coldwell Bankers and the Kellers of the world, even big Indies like a First Team or a Regency. They're not getting to have sales meetings anymore like they used to in their offices. They're not getting to have trainings right now like they used to in a traditional sense in their offices. And I think attending a day-long event like this is such an important way for everybody to get outside of their bubble and get some other ideas and see what else is going on, and even do some online networking in the chat bars. But I just think for $20, especially for 2 tickets, I didn't even know that, it's an opportunity that agents have to take advantage of. Right. So what would be your role? Are you hosting or are you just attending? How does the world of president work with this one?
Well, sometimes I get caught off guard because people forget to tell me things. So I'm actually not sure, but I would imagine I'm going to host it. I helped out last year introducing some speakers, but as president-elect. So I don't know. Like I said, I do whatever anyone asks me to do. I'm okay with that.
And Zippy just put on here, there's a new panel that's just been announced. It looks like it's going to be a woman's up. No, it's not woman's up, not official. It's just a woman's powerhouse panel with Eileen Oldroyd, Leslie Ruda Smith, and Shannon McGon, and Jennifer Branchini. So very cool. Hi, Tina Vo, by the way. She's one of my favorites out there. So let's talk about training. Let's talk about training and OCR. And what that has been like in this COVID curveball world. What have you guys at the association done to try to keep the training level up and available and accessible for your members?
I think part of my head is fading into the
oh yeah, the virtual backdrops are a little rough sometimes. Yeah.
Okay, well, whatever. Okay, you know what? You would not even think that there's been a COVID crisis because our staff just kicked it into high gear. And one of the things that's so impressive is we've basically doubled our training offerings from about 138 to 311 from last year to this year.
That is a big jump.
It is a huge jump. We've hosted about 160 Zoom meetings and webinars. This is funny. It totals 9,203 minutes, which is 153 hours, and 9,282 participants. So that's amazing. Oh, speaking of meetings, you might find this interesting about Zoom. Pre-COVID, Zoom had about 10 million meeting participants per day. At the end of April this year, Zoom reported 300 million meeting participants per day, and that's trending upwards. So from 10 million to 300 million meeting participants per day.
Well, that would explain the stock price going from 106 to 237 today.
Yeah.
Well, not just today, but over the last 5 to 6 months, right?
I told my husband we should have bought in, but we didn't. We missed the boat.
So I actually, side note, I did buy in. I bought in at the IPO. And so, but man, when it hit 160, I was out. I was like, I'm getting out of here. Things are going to go crazy. Things are going to start. And then like there's a little bit of a crash in the market. So I thought I was really, really smart at the time. Right. And I got out at 160, but now it's at I think 237 was the last time I saw it today. And I was like, wasn't that smart apparently. So,
well, you didn't lose, so that's good news.
No, still did okay. So let's talk. Let me see here. I want to look at my list. So you've had a ton of Zoom trainings available. I've also heard that members are joining at a higher rate than in previous years, which is kind of a surprise. I think a lot of people thought that the numbers were going to dwindle. If I recall correctly, the CAR had even thought, well, with everything that's going on, we might see numbers start to downward trend for associations. You guys have seen the opposite. You guys have seen membership going up, huh? Do you know what those numbers are?
I do. So July, we actually had 30% more new members than last July. So this July to last July. So last July, we had 141 new members. This year in July, we had 183.
Interesting.
So yeah, which is interesting because the market's certainly changed. But, you know, I think our association, I mean, we stepped up our game And all of these classes that we just got through talking about, virtual events, Rexpo, that all of that is really attractive. And it's a great way for so many realtors to learn and get better at their craft. And you talked about the office meetings. I have 5 people, by the way, under my license. We don't, we're not looking to be huge. We just, just like to keep it intimate. But there aren't the office meetings to the extent that there were before COVID. So I think OCR has provided a necessary, filled this necessary void. And realtors from who weren't other members before or who are new in the business are recognizing that we've got a lot to offer at Orange County Realtors.
And for those who don't know it, who are watching, Orange County Realtors is the largest association in California, right? And I don't know if a lot of people realize that. Like, it is there of San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, and the different associations that exist. And just like in Orange County, there's more than just this association. There's also like, what is that, PWR up in like North County. Like, all areas have more than one, it seems like. But it is the largest association for members in the entire state of California. And I don't think a lot of us down here in Orange County realize that, that it's such a big, powerful group, which I think is I know a lot of associations, because of speaking and stuff across the country, and a lot of those associations have members of 400, 500, right? And they're not able to offer a lot to their training. Forget that. They couldn't even afford to buy the locker bank probably. Well, what are you going to do with 400 to 500 members and everything, right? But the power that the numbers bring and that have been able to then allow you guys to offer a resource is pretty incredible, which is why I think you guys pretty much top 5 in the country as far as what you're offering to your members. It's very impressive. So congratulations.
Well, we've got that, and that a lot of that goes back to staff and to Dave Stefanides and his leadership too. We are technically number 11 in the nation. So the Realtor Association is the largest trade organization in the world, and we are number 11 in the nation, Orange County Realtors. So it is interesting. We get the number of seats at the California Association of Realtors and National Association of Realtors. Because of our size, we get more seats on their board of directors. And it's really interesting because of our size. I mean, we do have a voice, and that's nice. But you're right. There have been times when I've been sitting at a table talking to another president of their association, and they have 400 people. And when I almost don't want to tell them how many people we have, because
I know, right?
I don't want to, make anybody uncomfortable. But yeah, we've got a lot. We have a great membership. So right now we're at about 12,000 members, approximately. So it's something to be proud of.
And what you never really know what you have until you can compare it to other things. And I think a lot of people don't get out of the bubble enough to really be able to compare it to other things. But one of the things that's substantially different is there's no charge for education, right? In pre-COVID, you could go to the association office and get trained in one of their 2 training rooms, be it Fountain Valley or Laguna Hills. And then when they pivoted to Zoom, they've continued that model of not charging to attend the different events and the things that are being put on from a training perspective, right? And it's interesting because most other boards, associations that I know throughout the country out there are, right? $10, $15. If you want to go to the training today about 1031s, $10, $15. If you want to go to the training tomorrow about best practices or how to use this new Instagram tool, $10, $15. So those things could add up over the course of a month or 5 months, as it turns out, right? But it's interesting that the OCR has no no training fees. Rexpo's a little bit different. I mean, you got to pay Erin Brockovich, right? She just doesn't, there's got to be something that goes on there with that. And there's a little bit of production involved in those things with some of those speakers. But other than that, the training's been entirely complimentary, which is, again, you don't really know it unless you're in another area. And then you look back and be like, wow, I wish my training was still free like it used to be. That would change, right? So let's move on to your best moment this year. What has been your best moment or the most unexpected, can't say COVID, moment of this year for you if you had to dig down deep?
Wow. My best moment. Hi. For those of you watching, Dan did not give me these questions ahead of time.
No, I cheat.
So.
Everyone's always like, can you give me a list of questions? I'm like, absolutely not. That would be inorganic and inauthentic, and then you'll spend so much time worrying about them, you'll be scripted anyway. So we're just going to wrap, and I'm going to ask some questions that come to me on the fly, and I kind of write them down, and sometimes I don't write them down, and I just figure it out. But so yeah, so like this year, one of them, I mean, obviously, you've already probably said a couple, like one, figuring out how to get the camera, two, figuring out how to host a live event in 72 hours for over 1,000 people. Any stories with clients? Any stories with any of your 5 agents? Being an indie broker in this environment is a little bit different. I know, as coming from that world as well, as like, belonging to maybe even more of a powerhouse, big name, big Brock's franchise. Right. And I'm not saying which is better and which is worse, because I could go both ways on that argument too. They both have pluses and they both have things that aren't as plus. It's just the way life works. But right. For you, your 5 agents, your little niche, your boutique, cool thing that you're doing. Any fun stories that have rolled out of that?
Me and my little group, it's been quiet. It really has been. For my husband Jim and I, our property management has been holding us up nicely. Buyers and sellers, we're low this year. I know a lot of people have just been super busy, but it varies, and business comes when it decides to. So that's been a little tough, but I do have probably the very beginning of my presidency. Really, the kickoff was my installation dinner. And I have to say that was one of my best moments, one of my best memories, something I will remember. Zippy, who does our events planning, she and I worked really hard together to make this a really fun event. We held it at the Marconi Auto Museum.
Ah, that's a cool spot.
Great, yeah. Got to see all those old cars, and it was just an evening. I was so honored. I thought maybe 30 people might come. We had over 150. I mean, I was as touched as I could have possibly been. I was going through a tough time too. My dad was really sick, and at the last minute, he got rushed to the hospital. He was supposed to do our flag salute, and there was this empty chair to be at my table, and really hard. And one of Jim's nephews stepped into my dad's shoes, and Jim stepped up to the plate and led the flag salute, and things like that. I felt the love from my family and my friends and the association and staff. Everybody was so supportive. It didn't rain, so I didn't have to worry about my hair getting all frizzy. It was a really, really amazing evening. And like I said, I don't get caught up in a title at all, but I was so honored. So that was, it was an amazing first look into what my presidency would be. And then, there's hard parts. There's parts when we don't agree with state political decisions, and some of the people that are out there that are supposed to be representing us, those are tough ones. We've got new programs that come out through our committees. We've got one called the Independent Broker Mastery Program. That's a new program coming out as an educational program, and to be involved in that sort of thing. Those are great memories and things that I will look back on. So, you know, I mean, even though I didn't really have quite an answer initially for you, now I think I could probably go on for the next 30 minutes talking to you about great memories. But yeah, I've been blessed. It's a good year. And, you know, even with COVID, I've had so many people say to me, gosh, what a bummer that you are having to, you know, your presidential year is during COVID. And at first, I have to admit, I was a little disappointed. I was looking forward to so much that I had thought was going to happen this year, and some dinners and some meeting new people and you know, different things that we could do as an association that now, you know, are all not available to us during COVID. But I think that I've learned that it's a blessing to be president during COVID, because it's something different, it's something new, it's something that I could not have even possibly imagined would be my leadership journey this year.
Speaking of, so we've got a couple questions in the Q&A, and so I keep thinking to ask about them, and I get so wrapped into the conversation that I forget to. Someone asked, what have you learned about yourself during this leadership year?
I've learned a lot about me. I've learned that I can pivot. I'm one of those people. I'm very organized. I'm very put together. If someone says have your term paper done by Friday, when I was in school, it would be done before Friday, and I would do a great job on it. So my life fit very nicely in this box, and all of a sudden I've now learned, because of COVID, that I can pivot on a dime, and I don't think I quite realized that. I've always had good patience, good listening skills, but they're heightened now because of being president. You got to listen. And I think that so many times people just want to be heard. You don't even have to have a solution for them. They just want to hear you. So I'd say that that's another thing. Give people a chance to share before trying to come up with a solution. I always tell my husband, I'm not looking for a solution from you. I just want you to hear about this. And I think
that's an age-old conversation, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's the male-female thing. So yeah, listening, huge. And so those skills have definitely been heightened, and trying to make sure, I hate the word transparency, I really do, but people want to know what's going on. They want to know, the board wants to know what's been happening since we last met last month. And it's important because there are things that happen. We meet once a month. There's still 30 or 28 more days, 29 more days in between those meetings.
In between, yeah.
Yeah. So that's really important. Gosh, those sort of things. I've never been very political. I've always known who I'd vote for president, but I haven't understood, and not that I want to talk about this, but I haven't necessarily understood all the things that go on the ballots. But I'm learning this year how important it is to be educated and not just take what's out there in the advertisements as face value, because the proponents,
they're advertisements.
They're advertisements, and the proponents and the opponents, and they twist things around a little bit. So I think that's something I've learned a lot and have become more interested in. I could go on and on about what I've learned, but those are some of the things.
Gary asked a question in chat that I'm going to get to in 1 second, Gary. But you had mentioned, and it kind of goes along with this little printout that I have. And I do this thing. I've been keeping stats for years now in Orange County in certain areas, just tracking different things. And so you mentioned that it's been a little bit slower out there, right? Some agents are busy, but as a whole, for a lot of agents out there, it has seemed a little slow. Okay. So I want to point out to you what is going on with active listings over a year ago. So from this August to last August. In Mission Viejo, there are 57% fewer active listings. In Laguna Hills, there are 64% fewer active listings. In Laguna Niguel, it's 49%. In Lake Forest, it's 35%. And in Aliso Viejo, it's 48%. So year over year, August 3rd to August 5th, actually. I couldn't line up the days exactly right, but I was really close. 367 days. That's a huge number of active listings being down, right? I mean, it's literally like they have been wiped in half in some of the marketplaces, and half the amount of listings, are going to, at the end of the day, equal half the amount of transactions. It's just pretty simple math, right? And so this goes along with Gary's question, and then a few more have popped up in the Q&A too. Gary has asked, in light of COVID restrictions, any advice for new agents, and I think this would be for all agents, by the way, but he asked for new agents, in terms of prospecting, lead generation, obtaining leads for listings, etc. So Gary, first thing I'll say is I'm really good at names. I have like a, what do you call that? An can't say it, but I know it. Memory, like, man, I see something and I can remember a name. I don't forget a name that I see when I read it. And so I'd encourage you to go back into go into the library of trainings that the association has available to you that they've been doing since March. And a lot of those are going to be on this. I mean, I've probably done 10 to 15 of them on my own, talking about the new school open houses, to talking about how to go about doing, when you can't go door knocking, how we are going to virtually door knock. Right, we've done an episode on that. We've done a whole session on about hosting events digitally. So I'd encourage you to go back and check those out. Sabrina just put it on the chat bar for you guys, vimeo.com/OC Realtors. And I know I've done a whole heap of them about doing things outside the box. And the reason I say I just don't remember seeing your name on any of those. I'm really good at names. So if you've missed any of those that I've done, go back and check those out for sure, would be my first piece of advice. Danielle, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I do. Gary, good question. Maybe not advice for new agents, but here's one thing that I did this year that they always tell you, keep in touch with your past clients. And as a new agent, you got to get that list going, even on an Excel spreadsheet, which really is how I do it. You all have already heard how not techie I am. After, 24 years in the business, I still use an Excel spreadsheet as my client base. But what my husband and I did this year was we have actually done this twice, and we've reached out to all of our clients, even those that we're so embarrassed to say we have not reached out to in a long time. And we just wrote them a quick little email. Hey, thinking of you, hope you're healthy and safe during this crazy time. It did not take very long. We did a copy and paste and, just typed in the email addresses. I was blown away at how many of our clients responded back to that email. So that was one thing that just, I was shocked that we did. We are still doing all of our mailings. We're still doing we do an email newsletter once a month. We do a snail mail newsletter once every 3 months. Those things still keep going. COVID is not a good excuse to stop prospecting. You just have to maybe do a few things differently. Don't door knock, and of course don't leave stuff on people's doors. But some of this other stuff, I think we all have to go back to the basics when the market is tough. And remember, what we did, if you've been an agent for a long time, remember what you did in the beginning and see if maybe that's an idea for now. So.
Bob Hartman has given you in the Q&A bar I'm going to hit answer live. None of them are actually questions, but he said you did a really good job co-hosting the town hall with Congressman Harley Ruda. You've done a fantastic job being president this year, even though, like you said, it's been a little bit of a different year. You haven't gotten to travel and sit at the round tables and do stuff that you would normally do as a president, but he says you've done a fantastic job. So I want to make sure you got mentioned there. or he got mentioned since he's written those up for us. Lee Brown. Everybody, Lee Brown did a session, 3 sessions. I want to say they're back to back to back, and I want to say it was last week, but it could have been the week before. It was the week before because I was with Lee last week, so it must have been the week before because she was at home in South Carolina on a Monday and a Tuesday and a Wednesday. This is for Gary and for everybody else watching. Go watch those videos. Lee Brown did 3 trainings on 3 consecutive mornings that were huge. I'm like a Lee Brown fanboy. Like anytime she speaks, teaches, trains, I want to be there and participating. And so 2 weeks ago, she was doing them for OCR on a Zoom. Last week, her and I were actually at an event together presenting. And OCR is one of the sponsors of that event, everybody. And, you know, they came up and were one of the sponsors that made that event available to everybody. And she was there. So having the ability to have 3 Lee Brown trainings on that site, that OC Realtors Vimeo site for you, I would also go and watch those because she really went into using crazy pieces of technology that are far greater. No, she didn't. She just talked about using simple stuff, guys. The phone, right? She talked about just the power of communication. She talked about the power of a video, of a phone call, of a text, how to mix them up and use them. But so that'd just be another thing that I would jump in on, Gary, is don't just watch me, for God's sakes, don't just watch me. There's so many trainers and speakers that the association has brought to you guys and gals over the last 5 months. Make sure you go and check those out. All right, so we're kind of wrapping up on time here. Yes, Tina says Lee Brown is amazing. When I grow up, I want to be like Lee Brown.
Can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. I was like,
Sorry.
okay.
My husband was telling me something. I said, I can't hear you.
Got it. Okay. I was like, uh-oh, I muted myself. So we're kind of wrapping up on time here. Any parting words? You know what I'd like to talk about real quick, if you could? A lot of agents, and this might be different. I think this is weird for people who are involved in the association. You guys are like, what? That's not even possible. Yet I'll tell you what, it is. And it's way more possible than it isn't. A lot of people do not know how to get involved in different things that the association has going on, be it volunteering, be it leadership roles, committees. I'm telling you, there are way more agents out there who don't know how to get involved than do. And so maybe talk a little bit about how an agent who wanted to do more at that level and learn more and help more and have a voice, how would they go about doing that?
I'm glad you asked that, actually. So, you know, it's great that we're realtors or lenders or escrow people or who you know, whomever is watching this, that's great. But to really round out your profession, I think it's important to understand more than just what you do on a daily basis. When I started getting involved with the association, I met new people, made friends, learned a lot more. I will tell you that now being involved at this level of the association in leadership, I'm dumbfounded as to how much this association does for its members. It's really incredible. So your timing is perfect with this question, because right now we are looking for committee members. Every year we you know, send out applications. The applications also on our website. And if someone wants to be part of a committee, we've got so many committees, and, you know, interesting, one person's interest level versus another might be, you know, 2 different committees, but there's something really literally for everyone. And as you get involved in the committees, you learn how the association works a little bit, and maybe you might be interested in being a vice chair and ultimately a chair, and then maybe running for the board of directors, and who knows. I'm just a normal person. There's nothing, you know, I was going to say there's nothing that great about me, but basically what I'm trying to say is I'm just your average person, and yet I'm president. It doesn't, you know, you too can make a difference working and learning about the association, working in a committee. And it doesn't take a ton of time to be on a committee. It can take as much time as you want it to. So if you're interested in being on a committee, being considered for it, call the association. They'll help you figure out where the application is so that you can fill it out. But yeah,
is there a list of committees someplace in this netherworld that they could go look at?
Yes, I believe so. I am going to take a wild guess that it's on our website. You know, we have got such an incredible website that I'm not really sure even everything that's on there because they've just worked so hard on it. So, but whether you're an independent, whether you are interested in government, you could be interested in, I mean, there's just a million things. Young professional network. It's just kind of like we've got something for everybody.
Yeah,
So,
I know that, I keep getting exposed to more and more people. Like I know you guys have like a global one now.
yes, we do.
I can't think of the name except I know it has the word global in it. I
Global.
didn't even know it existed until I was working with them with setting up to have a speaker speak to their group. The Indie Broker. I don't know that a lot of people know that if you are a small independent or even a big independent, if you're just an independent, there's a group that you guys get together and talk and train and mastermind and that sort of thing. Global Business Alliance, somebody shared. Yep. Thank you, Tina. Here's how you guys can apply. Thank you, Sabrina. I was hoping somebody would jump in with that. Here's how you can see what committees are out there and apply for the committees. You go to the ocrealtors.org/committee-app. It's all on the chat bar. You can see that. But just go surf the actual page. But I think a lot of agents don't understand that anyone can get involved and that there are so many different ways to get involved and so many little microcosm groups called the Independent Brokers Alliance Committee. It's a really cool word for indie brokers who hang out and share, everybody. Right? And so, but I think there's so many ways for people to get involved and they don't understand it. They don't know it. We're so busy out there just trying to sling houses. Right? That we kind of forget about all these other resources and support groups and mastermind opportunities for growth and learning that are available to us. So go check that out, everybody. I'd really encourage you to do that. So any other parting words, Madam President?
Oh, yeah, just, well, first of all, thank you for taking the time to talk with me. I wanted to, I was trying to figure out what might you ask me at the very end. And so I was trying to stay one step ahead of you, which I don't know if that worked or not, but there is a gentleman, an American author, John Maxwell, and he focuses a lot on leadership. And so I figured if you were going to ask me, how, Danielle, would you like to conclude your time? I would say to you, John Maxwell's words, the pessimist complains about the wind. The optimist expects it to change. The leader adjusts the sails. So through the help of staff, the board of directors, committees, I can confidently say that adjusting the sails is exactly what we've been doing so far this year, and we will continue to do it for as long as it's necessary. And it's working. We've got an amazing association.
Fantastic. If they have questions, you guys go to the website, reach out. There's all kinds of ways to talk to your leadership, talk to the association. If you have questions for me, like always, find me online, social media by Dan Smith. It's even TikTok. Hopefully that's going away. Please, God, go away. Microsoft's going to save the day. But so by Dan Smith, DM me, Facebook, Instagram. If you ever have any questions for me on any of these sessions as well, you can find me there and reach out. Dan, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate OCR you again for having us and continuing this real interview series that we are doing. We have some great guests coming up in the coming months. We're going to have Anthony Lamacchia up later on this month. He is a broker out of Boston, and he is doing some absolutely amazing things. So you're going to want to tune in for that one. And we've got some we just continue having this train ride of fantastic people to interview coming up in September as well. So I hope to see you all here participating, asking questions. Thank you very much. Until the next time, I guess we'll all see each other in the chat room at Rexpo here in just like 8 more days or so, 8 or 9 more, whatever date that is, whatever that math is. We'll see you in the chat room of Rexpo soon. Thanks, everybody.
Great. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.